Welcome to the channel. Today, you'll get exclusive access to the garage where multiple Porsches are being meticulously prepared for the legendary Pikes Peak International Hill Climb. Witness the dedication and passion that goes into every detail of these museum-quality race cars. Enjoy the video. When exploring new areas, talk to the locals. They always have the best info on cool things to see. While I was getting my motorcycle serviced at Colorado Springs Power Sports and shooting a lot of video for my YouTube review of their shop, the guys told me that I should go next door and see the race cars at the Porsche dealership that were brought in from California and Florida to compete in the Pikes Peak International Hill Climb. I'm so glad that I took their advice and get to show you this. The Pikes Peak International Hill Climb is a 100-year-old 12.4-mile autosport race to the top of a mountain with 156 turns, beginning at 9,300 feet and ending at 14,115 feet above sea level. With an average uphill grade of over 7 degrees, this race has no equal. For most of the race's history, the route was a dirt road until paving was completed in 2012. The course is unique because it is a road that people can drive their private vehicles on. I even rode a motorcycle to the top a few years ago. The race is also unique because there are very small margins for error. Guardrails are only present in the hairpin corners, and going off the road can be catastrophic. The two cars that I'm showing you today are actually museum pieces that are still being raced. The first is from the Petersen Museum in Los Angeles, California, and the second is from the Brumos Collection in Jacksonville, Florida. Let's take a closer look at the cars. This Porsche 935-19 is one of only 77 that were produced. With 700 horsepower from a twin-turbo 3.8-liter flat-six engine, it can reach a top speed of 211 miles per hour. Back in 2018 at California's Laguna Seca Raceway, Porsche unveiled a new 935 track vehicle to celebrate the company's 70th anniversary. It was inspired by the storied 935 that dominated endurance races in the late 1970s and 80s. This second generation 935-19 is based on a 991 GT2 RS Club Sport with bodywork reminiscent of the 935-78. This specific car has competed in the Pikes Peak race several times with Jeff Zwart piloting. The Broadmoor Pikes Peak International Hill Climb, presented by Gran Turismo, celebrates every driver who reaches the summit of America's mountain, and a lot of those drivers owe their success to Jeff Zwart. As a top-tier competitor, a renowned film director, a well-respected photographer, and a highly sought-after driving coach, Zwart has seen it all on Pikes Peak. He began as a still photographer for Road and Track magazine, was a co-founder of Racer magazine, and earned his first victory at Pikes Peak in the Open Division in 1994. He has claimed 7 division wins on America's mountain, and every one of those has been notched in a Porsche racing machine. In 2010, he set a time attack record in this Porsche GT3 Cup car. But his fastest time of 9 minutes and 43 seconds was clocked in 2020 in this Porsche 935, one of many sub 10-minute runs Zwart has recorded to date. Now recognized as a prominent competitor and ambassador for the Pikes Peak International Hill Climb, Zwart not only races, but makes himself available on and off the mountain as a driver liaison to coach and mentor other drivers. With over 20 years experience on the mountain, multiple victories, and a willingness to share his racing process, he is a fan favorite and a recent inductee into the Races Hall of Fame. If you want to see this car when Jeff is not racing it, you can find it at the Petersen Museum in LA. Let's go look at the other cars in the garage. The 3 race cars here for the Pikes Peak Hill Climb.
GT4 718.
So this is going to run in the Club Sport GT4 class, is that right? Yeah. And they're going to run a stock street tire.
Like Yokohama?
pretty impressive. I'm just saying that they'll run slicks if they can, and then over here we have multiple racers have their tires here, standing by, ready for the race.
Whose car is this?
Mr. David Donegan. Well,
Okay.
I don't own it,
but you're just racing it, driving it. Wow. David Donahue is a renowned American racing driver with a career spanning sports cars, NASCAR, and hill climb events. The son of Mark Donahue, a Hall of Fame driver, David has also excelled in many iconic races, including an overall win at the Rolex 24-hour race in Daytona and a GT2 class victory at the 24 Hours of Le Mans in 1998, driving this Viper GTSR. If you're not familiar with the 24 Hours of Le Mans, watch the film Ford vs. Ferrari. It will give you a better perspective of David's racing accomplishments. In 2005, driving a Porsche Carrera GT with Jay Leno, he set the world speed record for a production car. I'll show you a Carrera GT that's for sale with a price well over $1 million when we go in the showroom at the end of the video. Donahue has made a significant impact at the Pikes Peak International Hill Climb, winning multiple Time Attack 1 division titles. He set the division record in 2018 with a Porsche 911 GT3R, and in a few days he'll be trying to set a new record in this Porsche GT2 RS Club Sport. Time will tell if he'll be able to win back the title by setting a new record. His technical expertise, demonstrated here by tuning the car he'll be racing, and his adaptability cemented his legacy as a versatile and highly accomplished race car driver. He too is one of the favorites among the fans, as well as with many other drivers because of his approachable nature and warm spirit. I continued on my motorcycle journey toward the Arctic and left Colorado before the race, but you'll definitely want to stick around to see how things turned out for both of these cars and their drivers. If I knew that one of these two men would set a new world record in a few days, I would have stayed in Colorado a little longer. Here's a look at what happened on race day.
So let's back up to the start line for a moment. You wake up this morning, you go through all the ritual to get to that start line. You're driving a beautiful car. You've got an emotional connection to a friend that just passed. And then you have your own emotions of driving the hill. How hard is it to contain all that and focus and find the connection with the mountain?
Yeah, when you're driving, you're driving. I mean, you've got to kind of erase everything out of there. But certainly while I left the line, I thought of Bob and just what he's given me to be able to drive here the last 3 years. So that's special. But, you know, it's just a feel, you know, the road feels different every time. And, you know, I tried to be aggressive in places and it probably didn't reward me. In other places, the smoothness came back to come a good space for me. But it's always fun to race here for sure.
We did the interviews earlier with the Club Sport GT guys, and every single one of them mentioned the help that you give them. What is the drive of that? What is your passion about this event now?
You know, at this point, I've spent so much time on this mountain, from driving to filming commercials to whatever I do up here, and I just feel like I don't have anything to hide. I want to give them my process that's worked here for all these years. You know, for 19 years, I'm still doing the same process. So to share it with those guys, especially somebody like Hayden, who's 18 years old, first time here, and that's just awesome. Really good.
Now, I'm sure that as you were coming in, you were seeing the fans pouring in. Do you have awareness of the fans as you're driving up the hill?
Yeah, I would say that there's more fans than I've seen lately. And last year, obviously, we were compromised with the weather, but it was so great to see everybody there. And, you know, not just see them sitting on the hillsides, but really rooting for you. And I love that. And everybody's loved this car the last few years. So it's just been great.
Since you've done it so many times, I can ask you, what is the ride down like? What does the ride down feel like?
The ride, you know, there's no moment in motorsport like that anywhere. To be able to come down and have the fans all lining the course, especially on a day like today where it's sold out, it's magical. It's so special for us.
Well, enjoy that ride.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Jeff Zwart came in second in the division and logged yet another excellent sub 10-minute run.
All right, standing at 14,115 feet with Jeff Zwart. Jeff, the time was, I believe, a 9:46. Can I
Like that,
get a
yeah.
confirmation on that?
Yeah.
So a great run here at the 101st running of the Broadmoor Pikes Peak International Hill Climb, brought to you by Gran Turismo. How was this run for you?
Oh, it was a great run. I mean, you spend all year waiting for it, so it's always different, something new every time. But, you know, I just love running here. This is my 19th year running, and to drive a car like this and honoring Bob Ingram, who owns the car, had passed away just a couple months ago. It was an extra special run.
Passion, dedication, and the spirit of competition have driven these men to conquer Pikes Peak.
Obviously, you've done a lot of things with motorsports. You've been to a lot of places. You've raced in the dark. You've done all these things. Even with all of that, how hard is it to contain the emotion sitting on the start line of the Pikes Peak Hill Climb?
You know, Porsche Colorado Springs has really helped me kind of realize who I am on the mountain and the mountain rules, and to be happy with what I get and so forth. And they put a great car underneath it. They spent a month with me preparing it, so they kept me calm, and I'm kind of a calm guy anyway. So, but I think we're going to celebrate tonight. It's going to be a good time.
Going back to the emotion of the event again, you come across the sign, you see the checkered flag, you don't know the time yet, but just the achievement of getting to the top. How does that feel?
That's always the goal. I mean, I was kind of surprised when I was coming towards Cod Cut, but you know, we made it through. I way overbraked for that. The car was always in the air. Tractive shocks were a huge help, but I didn't get enough time to really figure them out on the mountain. So
in a while, you'll get to go down the hill as part of the Parade of Champions. On the way up the hill, are you mindful of the fans, the folks that got here in the middle of the night, that slept here, that are cooking their breakfast? Do you have awareness of that energy on the hill?
well, I was up here last night, and I could see them already setting up. So they're glutton for punishment. Those are real fans, because you never know what the weather's going to be like up here.
David Donahue crushed the world record in the Time Attack 1 division with a time of 9 minutes and 18 seconds. At the same time, setting a new record for the fastest Porsche up the mountain.
With David Donahue at the 101st running of the Broadmoor Pikes Peak International Hill Climb, Gran Turismo. David, you looked a little frustrated when you first got here, but how does a 9:18 feel?
It's kind of ironic, because when I worked for Porsche North America, I was on the 918 program. So there's a lot of people to thank on this.
Thanks for watching and joining me on this adventure. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and leave a comment. I'd love to hear what you think. Hey, subscribe if you want to be notified when I release my next video. I'll be traveling through the Colorado mountains and then crash my motorcycle in Utah. I wish I was kidding. We'll see you next time. Alright, this bonus material is for the real Porsche enthusiasts. And it's not every day that you stumble across a 205 mile an hour, 20-year-old used car for sale that cost well over $1 million. Today, the Carrera GT has become very collectible, and this mid-engine supercar is still making hearts beat rapidly. The Carrera GT has a V10 engine based on a motor developed for the 24 Hours of Le Mans in the year 2000. The only modifications to the race engine were those to meet emission and noise regulations for street legal cars. It also pioneered the use of pure carbon fiber for its monocoque and subframe. Here are a few other cool cars you might enjoy. If you're so inclined to buy a GT2 RS that's ready for the track, it's only got about 200 miles on it, and this one is not street legal, but it is ready to go for your next track day if you're in that market. All right, this is the GT2 RS, very similar to one of the cars we were looking at outside. The one outside had the carbon fiber body, and this one here is street legal. GT2 RS, ready for you here at Colorado Springs Porsche. Then go next door and get your bike serviced when you're on your cross-country motorcycle ride.